Hello and welcome back, Josh, Sam, and anyone else who's listening to another episode of Pulling Up the Slask. I'm just fiddling with my microphone stand because it's not perfectly straight and that annoys me. Anyway, since the last episode, it's been a little while, I remember getting annoyed. I don't think it's even been uploaded yet, but I remember being annoyed at and game what happened last year. So if you'll all just sort of close your eyes very quickly, I'm going to check out the fixtures from last season. Rah! Don't look at now. Okay. Is that the right season? I said don't look at now, I want to look at these seasons. No, previous season, stop looking at now. Go back one more. Why is it not going? Why is it not working? Right, okay. Well, no. Go back. No. Oh, it's all being so terrible. What's happening? Why is it not working? Right, anyway, so we'll try and do this way then. So there we go. We can see what happened at the end of the league. I got annoyed and stopped wanting to record things because of the last game that we played, which was in the Champions League. I don't know if I've recorded a video after that or not, but anyway, I was having some bad form in the league as well around that period, and we ended up losing on the final day of the season to Lech Poznan. I'm now going to try and see if I can see our previous fixtures again from last season. What the hell is happening? What is happening? What is happening here? Can we maybe try not having this? What the fuck is all this? Okay, let's just... So I hope that this is... No, fixtures. Okay, we're back. And now, can we go back a year? There we... Okay, some Polish people outside who are excited. Anyway, I fixed the issue. Who knows what that was? Yeah, so if you'll remember, last season we were doing really, really well. We got into the Champions League, and then we lost in the knockout round 8-0, 9-1 9-2 on aggregate to Atletico Madrid. That sparked off. Since beating Atletico Madrid, we had an absolutely dreadful run, as I'm sure you may well remember. Drawing with Warszawa, and then let's just do this. Let's play game, yeah. Let's play ball. So it lost to drew with 0-0 with Jagiellonia and with Łódź. Then lost 8-0 away to Madrid, which proceeded to put us on a couple of games of bad form. A 2-0 loss away in the league to Polonia Warszawa, and a 3-0 loss away in the cup to Polonia Warszawa. So they knocked us out of the Polish Cup, and they upset all people in Wrocław by basically killing off our league title aspirations. Also, it seemed Lech Poznan also went through a dodgy run of form. We finally managed to pick up a couple of wins, though. We went 2-0 up and beat Cracovia. We beat Belkotov 9-0, which was ridiculous. Who scored in that? Mancia got 6. Classic Mancia. We then played Lechia and won 2-1. And then drew, and what unfortunately ended up being the result that lost us the league. We drew 0-0 away at Lech Poznan, meaning that we were unable to catch them. We beat Korona Kielce 4-0, then Widzew Łódź 2-0, and at this point we were actually top of the league. That's what I'm saying. If we'd beaten Lech, we would have won the league, but because we lost our final game of the season away to Legia Warszawa, unfortunately we didn't win the league. We ended up coming second. But this season, things are going a lot better. As you can see from the league table, we've played 20, so we're just about to enter our mid-season break. We've won 15, drawn 5, and lost none, a whole none of them. Other fun things to note, Lech are spectacularly titting up their title defence. Polonia Warszawa seem to have walked off a number of cliffs in their attempt to regain the title, and at one point they were looking in danger of relegation, but luckily the teams in this league, most of them are fine, and then there's like you can see at the moment, there's only 3 who are actually properly terrible, and Warszawa have kind of pulled away a little bit in recent weeks, but that's good. We remember that Bartosz Szyk was manager of Łódź. He got fired by them about sort of 12 games ago, and then was immediately hired by Legia, which is good for him. So that's good. And his first game was a win over Lech, which put us clear at the top. And since then, we've not really looked back. We're on some good form. Let's look at the form. Fixtures. Are we able to... No, let's go back to this form this season. But are we able to... No, don't look at it. Don't look at it. All right, never mind. We can't do it the way I want. I wanted to look at just certain competitions. Maybe you can do it, but I don't know how. Oh, no. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so our games this season were... so obviously because we didn't win the league, we dropped into the Europa League. Poland's position in the Europa League has slightly improved because of our exploits in the Champions League last season. We now get 3 teams still in the competition, but instead of 2 teams in the fourth qualifying round in the first, they used to have 2 teams in the first qualifying round and 1 in the second. Now we have 2 in the second and 1 in the first. So we went into the second qualifying round, and I thought this was going to be a cakewalk. We played Ålesund, and our first game of the season we lost 2-1. Georgian Yuri getting a crucial away goal for us. We played a couple of new players who I'll go through in a bit, but one of our key new players, our right back, played a 5.4 and gave away a penalty. We were dreadful in that game, frankly, but luckily when we invited them back and welcomed them back to Poland, we managed to do for them 2-0. Balls and Muhammad Marmadov securing us progression. Then because apparently there just aren't enough Europa League games, we barely got any chance to do any pre-season games because of this, as usual. But we played Zestaponi, who are from Georgia. I think they're Georgian. Yep, so they're Georgian. So we got a much easier draw in the next round. We won 4-2 at home. We then kicked off the league, as you can see, absolutely battering Polonia Warszawa, who I was considering our biggest title rivals, except for Lech Poznan. We smashed them 5-1, which was beautiful. We then followed that up. with a 2-1 win over Zestaponi back at home, meaning that we proceeded 6-3 on aggregate, which was lovely, through to the qualifying round for the Europa League. We then battered Lechia 4-0. We beat Piast, who are doing very well this season, 2-1. Then we found out that we had drawn Apoel Nicosia from Cyprus. Sorry, I'm just going to give a bunch of spoilers here. So yeah, we beat them 2-0 at home. We then drew 2-2 with Lech, having been 2-0 up, which was slightly disappointing, and at which point I worried that this was going to be one of those seasons where we continue to drop too many points and stuff, but whatever. Then we went away to Apoel and smashed them 5-1. New signing down there, as you can see, Bafana Mokoena scoring 2. Lovely old job. And we then continued to be fairly comfortable in the league. We beat Arca 3-0. We beat Zhik's Łódź team 2-1. We were 2-0 up until the 90th minute, I think, and they scored a late consolation goal. We then found out our Europa League group, which consisted of Manchester United, Kalmar FF, and our old friends, the Pants, and Gorica, who I think are Slovenian, and of course Manchester United. As you can see there, how it ended up, but I will show you how it went. We beat Gorica 1-0 at home, which was not impressive because they are by far the weakest team in the group. We then played Wisła, another good Polish team in the league, and smashed them 2-0. Smashed them, yeah. Then, because of a spree of buying players over the summer, which I will discuss in a minute, which was slightly sort of inspired by Sam, who's probably the only person watching anyway, I have too many players who are of not Polishness. And so I've got a few of the players that I signed over the summer who have to only deal with FA Cup and sort of Europa League games and whatnot. So we played non-league ROW Rybnik, which is something about fish. Energetic Rao Rybnik. Anyway, so we played Mancia, a new guy called Oleg Zikov, and Kenneth Odita, and we beat them 5-0. So it was nice because we had mostly a second string team engaged in that game. We then played Legia Warszawa, won 2-1. Before battling to a very, very close, we so nearly drew. It was something like a 94th minute or 93rd minute free kick. We had our chances to win it. I think only one shot on target doesn't really tell the right story. We had a couple of chances, but unfortunately we lost away to Man United. So yeah, it was a bit of a frustrating time. But at the time, well, we'll beat Kalmar twice and we'll beat the other team, Gorica, twice, so it'll be fine. but we'll see how that went. We then followed that up with a draw against Gornik Żabja, which was upsetting. But then we followed that up again, lots of following things up, and we beat Podbeskidzia 4-0. We beat them by quite a large margin most of the times we've ever played them, so that's fun. We then beat our rivals 4-0, racking up a lot of goals in the league. Which was then shocking, because then we had the Pants came to Oporowska and they beat us 3-0. They absolutely did a number on us, and at this point I was worried that we're not going to qualify from the group, because if we play them again, which we obviously will do, but we have to at least equal their result away from home, because of the head-to-head record taking its part in this. The good thing was that we had lost to Man United only 1-0, whereas I think they had lost 3-0, so in goal difference terms there was that to think about as well. But oh my god, I was so frustrated with that. And I was worried that we were going to get knocked out of the group stages, which would have just been a bit of a joke. Luckily, it didn't affect us too much, and 3 days later we beat Jagiellonia 3-0. 2 goals from Mamadov to set us up for a 3-0 win. Again, the second team played the first division side Sandesia, who we drew 1-1 with twice in a row the season that we won the Polish Cup a couple of years ago. We battered them 5-1 this time. Van der Linden and Zykov again scoring goals as our substitute players. We then played Belchatov, who we beat 9-0, I believe you remember, I mentioned a few minutes ago, in the Cup. We beat them in the league 6-1 this time round. Then we played Kalmar away and won 4-2, which is sensationally impressive. Hang on. Yeah, so which was a very, very impressive away result. Mokoena scored twice, which was lovely, and meant that we were now suddenly second in the group again, based on, I think, goal difference, because they had Kalmar also only beat the other lot, Gorica, not very much. So we were top. We were second going into the last game, but it was only on goal difference. Because they got that Kalmar got battered by Man United in the next game. Vidjev, we won 3-0 against, another great result. We then had 2 slightly dodgy results: a 1-1 draw with Cracovia and a 0-0 draw against Polonia, but it was away. It's not so bad. And then we followed that up with a 4-0 win over Gorica, coupled with Vidjev losing. So then, and in that same game, Kalmar lost to Man United quite heavily, which meant that we were suddenly again second in the group on goal difference, which is very, very nice. We then beat Lechia 3-1. We drew 3-3 with Piast, which was annoying. We went 2-0 up. They came back to 2-2. We scored again, then they scored again. Very frustrating. And then we played Man United, and we lost, but luckily... And how did it work? Because we ended up being a point ahead of them, didn't we? We ended up being 2 points ahead of them, so they must have drawn... Did they draw with Man United? But then who did they lose to? What? So they lost 3-0 to Man United, beat Gorica, they beat us 3-0, so that's their 2 wins. So then they lost. I don't understand how we got... we didn't draw. We didn't draw, they drew. Who did they draw against? What the fuck is happening? Oh, they drew with... Yeah, okay, yeah. So they shockingly drew with Gorica. If they had won their game, they would have gone ahead of us in terms of goal difference, I think, or something like that. But anyway, at one point they were winning their game and they were going through, and whatever, that's just stupid. So yeah, we lost, but we managed to qualify. We then beat Lech Poznan 3-1, absolutely nobbled them. That was delightful. And then we beat Arka 4-0. We went down to 10 men after just in the second half, we went down to 10 men when we were 1-0 up, and then we scored 3 late goals to really just upset them, I'm sure. Anyway, what it does mean is that we're through to the next round of the Europa League, in which we will play Stoke City. Now, Stoke City are a Premier League team, as you're well aware, but they are now managed by Justice Mbele, who they poached from... I mean, they've done worse since he took over. They poached him from... who was it that he went from? Hull. So when he took over, Stoke were 18th and Hull were 19th. So poor Justice not having the best of seasons. Hopefully we can compound that for him, because I really want to see us winning through that game, because the next game after that would be against some really shonky teams, so we could end up in the quarterfinal, like the path to the quarterfinal at least, because they draw 2 rounds in a row. I don't know why, but the path to the quarterfinal is quite favourable if we can get past Stoke, who, despite looking terrible in the Premier League, are probably not that bad a side. Now, the other interesting thing, fans of the old Weston-super-Mare games, Weston-super-Mare are still top of the league, and they're managed by Antonio Conte, and they play at the newly built Wheatland Park. They named their stadium after me. I'm so happy about that. It's so funny. But yeah, so we are. I'm a very pleased man. I'm hoping that one day Slask will do the same. Speaking of our lovely, lovely club Slask, they have been doing a lot of work on our facilities. And now our stadium sits at 32,872 all-seater. We've got good training facilities. We've got good youth facilities, excellent junior coaching. We're doing very well, all things considered, especially considering where we came from. Now, it's interesting that it says here that the training facilities are good. I asked them to improve the training facilities, and they said, yes, absolutely we will. But it doesn't then say that that's not reflected in our facility thing. Usually it says like will be completed at this time. So I suspect they'll do what they have done every other time I've asked them to improve them, and it will get to about 3 days before, and then it will cancel, and I'll be annoyed. I also signed a new contract, but that doesn't really make much of a difference. I as you can see there, my job confidence is untouchable. I'm not going anywhere. Now, what was I going to do? Oh yeah, so flippin' neck. Let's look at the history of the transfers, because it's been a busy old time. Now, last year, I didn't bring anyone else in that you wouldn't have heard of, because I did the last video after the transfer window, so you should have known about all of these transfers in and out. Yes, you do. So let's go forward in time. So this is what happens when Sam comes to visit. Yet that said, despite having signed that many different players, we actually still made a healthy profit over the transfer window. So we sold. Let's go through who we sold first. Adrian Gora, who had an irritating clause in his contract that said that he would match highest earners, back from when I wanted to keep him desperately. So to try and bring in some new players with on higher wages and not keep overpaying him and then never being able to get rid of him, I thought we can get rid of him. So I sold him for £525,000 to AZ Alkmaar, where he has been bad. So good choice from us. We then sold Andrei Novikov to Amkar, who I think are Russian. They are in the Premier League, the Russian Premier League. How's he been doing? He's been doing okay. He's been doing slightly better than he did for us, in fact. But yeah, it wasn't too sad to see him go. He wasn't as clinical as his statistics suggest he should have been. We then sold Mikkel Kristoffersson, 22 years of age, sold him off to Silkeborg in the Danish Super League. He had kind of fallen down the pecking order, and his physicality and his speed were good, but his defending and mental stats aren't really good enough, and I thought he would have improved a bit more, considering he played quite a lot in the first couple of seasons. So we sold him for £500,000. Fine. We then signed this guy and then sent him out on loan. He's 19, Robert Murdyk. Anyway, he's a good player. Sent him out on loan for £90,000 to H. Rishon LeZion. Cool. We got rid of the 33-year-old Adam Bogusz, whose physicality definitely declined in the last year or two. He was excellent for us. Helped us win 3. I think he played in all 3 of the title-winning seasons that we've had so far. But yeah, old and not really needed by us anymore, so we got rid of him for Podbeskidzia. We also got rid of Martin Tarnowski at bloody last, who the club are still like, you get the monthly kind of report of how the board thinks you've done. And that they always like, oh yeah, you're qualifying into the Europa League knockout rounds is good, but we're upset that you let this guy go. I signed him on a free. He did all right for a couple of years. He's dreadful, and they're upset with me. And he looks kind of sad. Look at his little eyes. But yeah, piss off. I don't like you, and I don't think I should be being bullied by people who think you're good. Speaking of people who think they're good, Ben Schmidt. I just didn't have the patience to train him and play him enough. He never really got a game. All the games he got for us were reserve games, so it doesn't even come up there. He looks like he probably could come good, but he wasn't going to become as good as some of the players we have already, and so to invest the time into giving him the appearances that would have been needed to make him good doesn't really seem to make it up for me, so sold him for 500k. As well, we also sold Brian Svenningsson, who was another young centre-back. I played him a few times. He did get a few games. He also played on loan at Łódź for 2 seasons in a row. Didn't do very, very, very well. But we sold him into the Danish First Division with HB Køge for yet another, for £400,000. We then got rid of Alfonso Garith on loan because he doesn't like Wrocław. He doesn't mind Poland, I don't think. So I think he was... so he's been on loan a lot from us. And he's done okay, and I think he probably is one of our best left midfielders, but I just can't. He just won't play. Every time I try to do it, he just says, "No, don't like it. I want to go away now, but I don't want to leave on a permanent. I want to leave on a loan." So I let him. I sold Samuel Gauthier, who's very good, to Jagiellonia. Made £200,000 on him. He's doing well for them, and fair play to them. But he's, I don't know, it's not. We have enough players because of all the players over here. We didn't need him as well. I've tried to get rid of this guy again, but can't get rid of him to actually leave. He's doing okay this season for them. He did well for them last year as well. He quite likes that club, so I think we'll probably try and get him to leave on a free at the end of his contract. But yeah, he did okay. And we also gave them Manuel Teixeira, who's a young player who I actually want to develop a bit more. So hopefully he's playing well for them. That's good. When he does play, he had a lot more potential when he was younger. I don't know why he seems to suddenly have gone back a lot, but he did have a lot of potential. 6'6". Hopefully he can come good. We can make some money off of him at least. Then we sold Yao Diaby, another player who is good, but I signed some better ones in his position, and so I thought better get rid of him. Made £150,000 on him. He's not playing very well for them, and he never played brilliantly for us. I know he got a 7.9 rating in the games he played last season, but he was the second choice one. He would play in all the kind of games where I thought we didn't need to play the best player. So he was playing against the shonky teams. So of course he did well. And then finally we got Alexander Mandic, who's a player I think I probably just brought in, sent him out on loan. So well done us. Yeah. Now so I'm going to try and go through these quickly because I find this not super interesting. But we signed this guy Dennis Teteruk. He's a right or left back. I believe he's right-footed though. Yes, he is. It says it right there, Ben. You can read that. So he'll probably end up playing a lot more next year. But at the moment, he's been in our reserve team, just getting some games. He has played once in our. Maybe he'll play after Christmas a bit more. I don't know. I need to do a bit of reshaping of the squad because we got rid of quite a few Polish players and didn't really replace them with any Polish players. So we need to get some more Polish players. But hopefully, I mean, he's good. He's only 18. He will come good. He'll be a first teamer next season at the very latest. Then we signed this guy, Denis Chichikov. He's 18, not as good. Right only, he's in the reserves. He's available for loan. Currently learning from one of our better players, being tutored. I brought him in for, £300,000 from Vorskla. I am hoping that he improves. He looks a little bit like Kristoffersson. I'm hoping he pushes out in these kind of key areas, otherwise he's probably going to be sold soon. But he's worth a lot of money, so hopefully we'll get some for him. Signed Steven Jensen on a free. He's a centre-back. He will probably go the way of most of our young Danish centre-backs, i.e. he will not play very much and then sort of get stuck in being sold. There we go. We signed Kenny Odita. He's good. He real good. He's been playing quite a lot for us this season. We signed him for £700,000 off of Lechia Gdansk. He's a good player. He scored goals for us, although none of them have been in the league. He scored a cup goal and a Champions League goal. A Europa League goal. He's a good player. I like him. He plays well when he plays. He's got a little bit of problem with his match fitness. His natural fitness, as you can see, is 6, so he doesn't tend to be able to play more than one game in a week. Luckily, in Poland, you don't get very many weeks where you get more than one game, but when you do get them, he has to make way quite quickly. It's a shame, but he's very good. We then got Mateusz Hari, who's been playing as a defensive midfielder for us, playing very well. Slovenian, should really be a Slovenian international. Bought him for 50k from Olympia. Great spot from Mr. Ham Samberger. He's just a decent midfield player, decent defensive player, and he's doing well. Now, I had complained to Sam that we wanted better wing play, so Sam found this guy called David Daniels, 275,000 off of STVV in the, I believe that's the Belgian Pro League, although it could be Dutch. They are Belgium. He's done very, very well this season. He scored. Was it him? Let me see here. So one of the cup goals he scored was just a cross that he sort of drove in low and just went straight in from about 45 yards. It was beautiful. He's a good player. He's on a lot of money, but he's very good, and he seems like the kind of player that will probably end up being bought for 3 million behind my back pretty soon. So, but he's doing well, and I like him. We brought in this young goalkeeper, Miso Mikic. He's now in the under-18s. Hopefully next season we can send some players out on loan. I don't know why it is, but no one else wants our players on loan except for like the one occasional sort of Latvian club or other Polish league clubs. So the trouble being that if they're decent but not good enough for me, I can only send them to Polish clubs, which means that they don't get very good improvement. But nevertheless, I'd like to send him out on loan. He's very good. He has potential to be a very good goalkeeper. And at least now when we have a problem with fucking under 18 year old goalkeepers in European competition, for example, I'll be able to actually play someone good rather than just this idiot child that we had last season. Then I brought in Sean Mullen, who's a very good 17-year-old. He's played some games in the league this season and has been excellent at it. He seems to only be right-footed, and I cannot for the life of me work out how to train him on that weak foot. I can't see, it doesn't let you do it. So Sam was saying you have to do it there, but I can't do it. You have to like ask him, interact with him, preferred move training or something like that. It's really weird. And then if you like click on these guys, you want to say to him, train him to use his other foot, but you just can't. So I can't see it in any of these. You'd think it'd be technique, right? But all I can do is to tell him to avoid using his weak foot. But anyway, I've been playing him at left back despite him only having a right foot, and he seems much more efficient at it than Adrian Gura was. At the age of 17, he will probably develop into our first choice left back next season ahead of Aki Breaky. He's very good already, this guy. I'm a big fan of his. And I got him for £12,000, so you can't really complain. Then there's Josef Kreml, who's a good centre-back, 6'7", love it. He was in a bit of a mood because the thing is I can only play two. There's only two defensive centre-back positions, and at the moment he's young and not the one playing in them. But he has made 5 appearances for us this season. He's been very good. I've been trying to play him a little bit more to try and make sure that he's happy and will stay with us because I really like him. I rate him a lot. But as I said, there's only so many players and there's only so many spaces and there's only so many games. Yeah, and then like I told you, I bought this guy Alexander Mandic. He's very similar, not as tall. He's currently out on loan, doing very well for H Akko, wherever they are from. I think is that another Israeli team? Yeah, I don't know why the Israelis take our players on loan so much. But anyway, he's good. Might try and sell him because I just can't fit all of them in the team. Signed them all though, didn't I? Stupid. Then there was this guy who I'm a big fan of, Oleg Zhirkov. Again, because we don't have very many spaces in the squad, he's not been able to play in the league this season. Although I'm anticipating that. I mean, we're not even in the transfer window yet. I'm anticipating at least one of our strikers will be sold. Not necessarily my choice, but I think that will probably happen. But Zhirkov has been very good in the League Cup, 4 goals in 2 games. He played once in the Europa League and then he got injured, I think, and then so I had to take him out of the Europa League squad because we played so many games early on and he was going to miss them all anyway. But he's very good, signed him for 65k, love it. And then another one, Tancho Kotsev, right winger, 19 years of age, very, very effective. He's played very well, 4 goals, 7 assists. He's quick, he can take a good corner, he can do a good cross, he can actually pass. His mental statistics are improving. We got him for basically nothing, £35,000 off of Slavia Sofia. He's played very well for us and has made the right wing spot his own, and for that I am happy. And then the only player we spent very much money on was this guy Bafana Mokoena, who is currently injured, hence his statistics looking like they're going down. But 21 years of age, South African, who came through at Hamilton, almost very strangely. He's got loads of goals for us in the Europa League, not so many in the league. He went through a 10-game goal-scoring drought, and yet this season has 14 goals. So he's a very good player. He scores he scores all the penalties he takes. He gets good assists. I like him a lot. He's unfortunately currently injured, but he'll be back by the time we start the second round of the league after Christmas. Then we brought in this guy Nicolo Scarlato, who is 18. He's playing in the reserves again. I'm trying to send him out on loan, but one thing I did do this season was sign up to the reserve league, meaning that they're actually playing. So that's why you can see he's got these non-competitive stats where he's playing very well, but he's not quite ready for the first team. That said, he is a good player and hopefully one for the future. He's already worth quite a lot of money. We signed him for free, so if the worst comes to the worst, we'll just sell him on. Then the player I mentioned who had an absolutely shocking debut, rated 5.9. He is 19 years of age, Cameroonian young player. I think I signed him for £5,000, which I love, just the kind of pointlessly nominal. Didn't I sign someone for £500 once? Anyway, he's great, playing really, really well. He's made the right back spot his own ahead of Lucas Mrozek, but he's a very good player. And then I continued my sort of plundering of the Scottish leagues by signing Stijn van der Linden. Signed him for £160,000 off of Aberdeen. He's played in the cup for us, only 2 appearances, 1 goal. He was injured for a bit, severely lacking match fitness, as you see there. He's done okay in the reserve league as well. He wants to leave, and I might have to let him go because we just don't have enough spots for all these players. If we can make more money on him than we bought him for, then that's fine with me. And then Ghica Vladescu, who's a young Romanian centre-back who seemed like he was going to have a lot more potential than apparently he now is about to. His star rating has gone down, whereas he was going to be 5-star before. He's playing in the reserves as well, and I tried to loan him out, but nobody wanted him. Anyway, that is all I think I'm going to do in this game. It's very unlikely, unlike me, to do that, but I know we usually play one game at least, but I don't see the point in showing you the mid-season friendlies. So what we will do is we'll come back for the 2 Stoke games where we face off against old adversary Justice Mbele, and I'll run through any transfers we have in and out of the club since then, or in that time. So see you next time, guys. Bye.